Hello, today's date is Friday, 24th of February 2017, and it is about 2 a.m., about 2:15 a.m. to be exact, and I got to get to bed shortly, but I wanted to kind of just do a random rant here. Um, what I haven't been making videos like religiously. I haven't made one in over a week, almost going on 2 weeks now. And I thought I would just get this off of my head because I've got a few minutes before I go to sleep. I've said it in the past about how I don't believe that MGTOW is going to be around in 2017, and of course it obviously is, but I didn't mean literally it would be dead. But I'm finding out, and I'm not here to mention names of people, but the content is just getting lame and stale, and it's nothing more than just a regurgitation of the same principles. And I had listened to some videos that Kick's Passion had done, and Kick's Passion, the only thing I'm pissed off is that he's about the only guy, with the exception of myself, and that's maybe Bill Greathouse, but definitely me and him were the only ones really calling out this whole MGTOW crowd about this strongman narrative. And I feel that after listening to his two-part series on baby steps, it got me to thinking that, whether or not men want to acknowledge the problems of male-female relations, there is going to be a default position that they'll be forced to take. I think anytime you lie about something, like if you lie about what your real intentions are, it always comes back to haunt you. There's no way you can say, oh, I'm only doing this because of X reason when the really reason is what the reason is the Y reason. And we see this, and I know this is repeating the same thing I've talked about before, but we're seeing this same strongman narrative coming from a lot of these high-profile MGTOW guys. You would not believe also how many of these MGTOW guys have come and gone. I just can remember there was a guy who was in his early to mid-20s. He was a pretty good-looking guy, and he had gotten divorced, and he had a whole channel up on MGTOW, and he was going on, and he had one video, and he took his channel down. I mean, these people, if this isn't all related to relationships, I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm really not buying this idea that people are entering the MGTOW arena because of false rape allegations or because they saw some guy get screwed over in the divorce courts. I mean, we all know that these things do happen, and we obviously know that child custody battles are obviously not in the favor of men. But to anecdotally take the worst examples of these situations and say that's the reason I'm going MGTOW is just plain nonsense. I think, we're going to have to realize that probably the vast majority of the men out there are in the MGTOW arena because of relationships that went south, or for these younger guys, relationships they never had. Like I said, and this is coming from the mouth of Kick's Passion. Never in history has there been a time where so many average to unattractive women have had so many options, even going into their 50s even. And you're seeing this more and more today, and it's not going to change. And I strongly believe, like I've said in the past, that this issue is not going to go away. So let's say guys are out there saying that they're going MGTOW because they're strong men and they're putting on the strong man, he-man narrative. Just listening to their life stories or what they're talking about, it leads me to conclude that the only reason they're here is because they're not getting female validation. I know this doesn't jive well with the phony strongman narrative. And I've talked about this before. Now, somebody did a video recently addressed to me, and I want to listen to this video again. And I want to do a private or a direct response to this, because this gentleman was from Canada. Didn't show his face on camera. That's okay. I'm not going to hold that against him. But he was upset with me because he says that, you know, guys like me have ruined the TFL movement, which I never ruined the TFL movement. I've been one of the few people that have said that it actually is a real phenomenon. And involuntary celibacy, I know Bill doesn't like to hear this either, incel. But I mean, a guy needs, incel is a factor in the equation, okay? It might be a separate issue from TFL according to Bill, but it's the same. We all know that it all falls into the same reason why guys are here. And, you know, I love what Kick's passionate to say. He goes, you know, I'm not buying it that these guys out there who are, like, uploading multiple videos, that they're here for only one reason, is to end the injustice of these phony, you know, things like false rape allegations. I mean, it's so limited of that ever happening to you unless you're famous or you got money or you're dealing with a psycho woman. Okay, so here's the gist of this. Now, I've talked about these issues before. I want to get right into this. When you lie about your intentions of why you're doing something, the truth is going to come out, and you're eventually going to be forced to confront the real truth with something. I mean, I don't believe that people can fake something and not deal with the repercussions. Like if you go to the bar with the intention that, oh, you're just out there at the bar to have drinks with your buddies and watch the baseball game, and your real reason of going to the bar is hoping that you're going to find some woman that will maybe share her phone number with you, maybe you'll make out with her, maybe you'll get to know this girl, and you'll have a few dates, and next thing it'll lead to sex. Okay, obviously sex is an important factor in this too. But if you lie about your intentions of why you're going to the bar, there's no way that it's not going to catch up to you in some way. You're going to either vent out your frustrations at other guys because, you know, obviously if you're at the bar, you're competing for pussy. I mean, let's face it, if guys are at the bar, if men go to the bar strictly to be there with their buddies and watch the game, then why is there so much angst in the bar scene today with men having this dickhead mindset? I mean, I don't believe that guys that are very successful with the ladies or have great relationships that are at the bar are miserable, act like dicks at the bar. I mean, there are those happy-go-lucky married guys that go to the bar because they're bored, and, you know, being married after a while isn't everything, and you need a release. But we all know that most guys that go to bars are secretly hoping to eventually find a woman. Now, if you lie about your intentions, it only catches up to you. And it takes on you'll either boycott the bars, or more than likely you'll be addicted to the bar scene, but you'll be doing it for the wrong reason, and it'll wind up hurting you in the end. I also liken this to these stupid meetup.com groups, these hiking groups, and they have these wine tasting groups on meetup.com. And there's nothing wrong with going to those things if your intention is strictly to be involved in these things. But the problem happens is when your intentions are that this will lead to you meeting women. Okay? Now, it's important because we've all been here, guys. We've all joined these meetup.com groups. We've all gone to bars. We've all done this stuff with this intention that, hey, it'll be great to get involved in that. And by the way, it might be a great way to meet women. Well, you know, let me tell you something. I haven't competed in marathons in over, God, it's been almost 2 years now, okay? I'm ashamed to admit this. Actually, I did run the Boston Marathon last year, but I wasn't really competitive. I did horrible. But if I had joined the marathon running community at the time with the intention that I was going to get laid or meet women, I would have given up on it a long time ago. One of the reasons why I became such a successful marathon runner and I was able to break I did 4 sub-3 marathons in my mid-40s, like at 44 years old, 43, 44 years old, and I also did one at 3 hours. So we're talking 5 sub-3 marathons or 3 hours and below. The only way I could have done that is if I liked what I was doing. I was not doing this to impress the ladies and meet women. And I think that that was one reason why I was successful at running marathons. Now I've been kind of lazy lately. I'm getting back into shape. I gained 35 fucking pounds. I feel horrible. I look healthier, but I don't feel healthier. Okay, I'm getting pretty fat. But let me get back to this because, see, I think that when you lie about your intentions of why you're doing something, it is always going to come back in the end. It's going to hurt you in a very worse way. It's not going to be necessarily physical harm. It could be emotional harm. But like joining a meetup.com group, and the whole intention of it is to get a woman. Well, there's several things happen. Number one is that you're going to be cock-blocked if you do go to an event, and there's even moderately attractive women there. And if you're not good-looking, you're probably not going to be paid attention to. And eventually, you're going to just get bored with the group, and you're going to say, why am I here? You're going to be telling yourself, hey, you're going to be telling everybody else you're there because you want to be out there hiking in the mountains or hiking or, I find fucking hiking so fucking boring. I mean, it drove me nuts just joining a hiking group. You walk for 5 fucking miles at a snail pace. And it's just like, I'd rather just fucking run the damn thing and get it over with, And that's one of the things. But I thought to myself, I'd really have to really enjoy this shit. For me to really want to do this, if my intention is to meet a woman, then my intention needs first and foremost to say, look, I'm here to meet a woman. Okay, no guy's going to go join a hiking group or a moviegoers group and admit this. Now, this always comes back to haunt you. And I really believe that this shit always comes back to haunt you, because another thing is if you do go out on a dinner date with like 8 or 10 of these people from one of these meetup groups, you're still bullshitting, and you're lying and saying, oh well, I thought this would be a great place to go hiking, and you're sitting in a restaurant with these people. You're better off just saying, look, I thought I'm joining this group, I'd find a good woman, and so far I don't see much. You'd be better off being just upfront and fucking honest with it. And I think that MGTOW is doing the same thing. See, these guys, I don't believe a word they're saying. I don't believe they're being honest as to why they're really here. Okay, now they can sit there, and this guy got real belligerent about me, and I'm going to do a very good response video without using nasty words, but he was very pissed at me, and he was basically saying that, it's guys like you that give TFL a bad name, and it's guys like you that don't know what we MGTOW are all about. Let me tell you something. This guy doesn't understand something. I was in this men's movement 10 years ago, when this stuff started coming out on YouTube, or at least 9 years ago. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt. 9 years ago, when I did my first, started to do my first. Actually, I did a couple videos on YouTube back in 2007 about a dating thing. I ran a dilemma, but I took that video down. But the point I'm trying to make is that, like, I just don't think that it's healthy to lie about things and expect there to be no repercussions for it. And I think this is why you're seeing a lot of these people have these MGTOW nervous breakdowns. They wipe out their channel completely. They never come back, and they don't. And the worst thing is they don't tell you why they did it. Like if I ever decide to shut down permanently, even including my marathon videos, I'm going to give you guys a farewell video as to why I'm doing it. I am going to say, look, this is the reason XYZ why I'm doing this, and that's just it. That's how I feel about it. But I think that a lot of these guys are not even being truthful about as to why they're shutting their channels down completely. Like we know, remember Truth Over Everything? He was this Eastern European guy from Toronto, Canada. He was obviously an unattractive guy. I'm pretty sure he was pretty ugly, and he would like, what's up, brothers? And he'd go on there and he would just sit there and pontificate the 763 arbitrary steps as to why a man needs to go his own way. I mean, this guy was a fucking lunatic. He was so intelligent, he was stupid. And I guess what I'm saying is that this guy wasn't being honest. The real reason he left MGTOW, it wasn't because he was doxxed. Nobody knew who this guy was. He left because his real intention was to get pussy. And when you're not being honest about it, I mean, you're sitting there saying, "Well, we're just MGTOWs going our own way." The biggest clue that leads me to believe that MGTOWs are not serious is they always talk about women. They don't talk about doing anything, but they don't talk about fixing cars. They don't talk about anything. It's all about women. It's all about women. They bitch. And I thought, never in history has there been a time where men have been freed the burden of having to get married. This ought to be a glorious time for you MGTOW guys. And all they're doing is bitching. I mean, think about this. If you're average looking and you have an average paying job, there is zero expectations that you will ever get married and have a family. And society doesn't want you to have those expectations. They want you to shut up. So if you really hate women and hate the system, you ought to be overjoyed that there's no expectations put upon you. And this, I don't see any of this coming from the MGTOW community. Nobody is glorious about the fact that if you're average to ugly guy with no job, long-term marriage prospects, that you're not expected. Nobody wants you. In fact, they want you out of their midst. So to say that, I mean, it's so clearly obvious that what is going on. I think this strongman narrative, according to Kick's Passion, is coming to an end. And it's going to come to an end because the populations are going to get smaller. People are going to... Donald Trump is already trying to stop Muslim immigration to this country, which kudos to him, by the way. We don't need any more people from the third world coming to America and bringing their fucking misery here, okay? And I'm starting to sound like a racist here, but... And so we're going to see these populations going south, especially for Caucasian people and probably Asian people too. They don't have very big families, and Jewish people have like only the most they have is 2 kids, if that. So you're going to start seeing populations really shrinking. And then it's going to be at this point that they're going to be forced to acknowledge the fact that incel is real, that TFL, whatever they want to call it, is real. Okay, and MGTOW isn't going to have a fucking ground to stand on, because MGTOW is already going to burn itself out because it's not being honest about the truth. I mean, honest to God, like this blonde-haired ninja warrior-looking guy who pontificates about his successful business and his big Triton engine pickup truck, and he drives around bitching about women all the time. I mean, this guy, is he really being honest as to why he's into MGTOW? I mean, does he really believe? I mean, and a lot of these MGTOW guys, I've noticed this too, these older guys with children, none of their boys, they'll talk about, oh yeah, my boy and his girlfriend. I think Traversable talks about his son and his girlfriend. I mean, if this was such a powerful message, why are not any of these older MGTOW guys, why aren't their sons becoming MGTOW? Why are their sons having girlfriends? Okay, or is it like... none of it makes any sense to me. I mean, I would think that these guys would say, look, I don't want you having a girlfriend as long as you're living under my roof or something. They would say, look, because I realize this. I don't buy this crap that these guys are being honest about their true intentions. And I'm going to harp on this issue as long as I'm on here. Okay, I'm not buying it, you machos, MGTOW guys that eventually will pull your channel down. I'm not buying any of this bullshit. I'm not buying that these guys are strong men who don't need it. I know there's going to be follow-up videos in the future to my message here. Kick's Passion and I are about the only 2 guys that are really calling out this MGTOW bullshit for what it is. And it really is. It's being totally disingenuous. I mean, it's I'd rather be upfront. You know, it's called introspection, okay? Okay, today's date is, I'm sorry, I got interrupted there. This is the following day. I want to talk about introspection. It is February 25th, 2017. It's just hit, it just turned Saturday. It's 12 a.m., 12:01 a.m. And, yeah, it just turned 12. It's 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and February 25th, 2017. So let me say about this introspection thing real quick here. By the way, my camera got cut off, the battery died, that's why I had to cut it. So this introspection thing, I want to talk about, there's this guy who he's a Canadian guy, he calls himself MGTOW Hermit. He's done some follow-ups to TFL, and he's criticized me He's complimented me, but he thinks that I'm being too hard on the MGTOW movement. And one of the things he's right about is I am very introspective. I know my nature. I know my lazy weakness. I know what a lazy ass I can be when it comes to like getting out of shape from like running marathons, how I make excuses. I mean, it's good that you understand what the hell is going on in your head. I'm telling you, this is so important. My problem with MGTOW men out there, and it goes into this strongman narrative, I really don't think men who are proclaiming the MGTOW message are really cognizant of what's going on in their head. I think that they're angry and they're making legitimate concerns about women and female, so-called female nature, which I think that's a misnomer because I think there's so many variables to that issue. I'm noticing one thing: a lot of these younger MGTOW guys, like Red Pill Brotherhood, are obsessed with this female nature shit, and they've never lived long enough to experience shit. I'm going to do a special video for him too. Some of the shit that he's done is really good, but I'll talk about that later. So this introspection thing, and it's very important you understand what's going on in your head. And this is why I got tired of, believing that. And I'm not trying to proclaim that I'm so ever so desperately addicted to pussy, because I'm not. I'm 46 years old. I'm kind of like out of that. I'm not like some 19-year-old kid who's horny like every day, But I don't deny the fact that it would be nice to meet a woman, to cuddle up with a woman, to have a woman rub your feet. I mean, there's nothing like having a woman's soft, sensuous hands give you a back rub or a finger massage or something. I had this one girl one time. She gave unbelievable tickles, like up and down. It sent rivets down my spine, and that is something that no dude could do for you. I mean, I imagine there are trainees that can probably do that, but for men to sit there and deny this is just plain nonsense. I mean, what MGTOW guy wouldn't want to have a woman come into his life? And it's not about, I know I'm going to hear this strongman narrative again that, well, I'm not, you don't know the consequences. It's not like you have to marry the woman right away either. It's not like I'm a pro ball player and I have to make a very tough choice. Like, if, let's say I had Tom Brady's status and talent, but I wasn't married to Giselle Bündchen, and some materialistic, average-looking woman wanted to marry me, like let's say a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader or something. Is that risk really worth taking? But most of us guys out there in the manosphere, we really are not in any position to bargain like a pro NFL football player, because we don't have that kind of money or fame. So it's not even a dilemma with us. So this strongman narrative, this idea that, you're not even introspectively looking at yourself, and I would recommend that this MGTOW hermit guy look at himself. And I'm wondering whether or not he is cognizant of what goes on in his own head, that he himself doesn't want to find a woman in his life. I mean, even Bill Greathouse has admitted that TFL is about finding a woman, finding somebody in your life. So, I mean, if this is the case, we can't deny it. So MGTOW, I've said this before, myself, maybe Bill Greathouse. He hasn't been doing shit lately on his videos, but he does do some occasionally. And of course, and Kicks Passion hasn't done crap. Another guy that's, does great stuff when he's doing it, but then he runs away for, I don't know what the fuck the guy's doing now. Another guy kind of getting on my fucking nerves now. But, when these two guys are doing work along with myself, we're both calling out the MGTOW crowd for their bullshit, because we see these 48-year-old guys like Revan, or not Revan MGTOW, that's another guy. He's another guy that's Revan MGTOW is this Eastern European American guy living in Romania, and he's going on the bandwagon about claiming he's strong, and then he's weak, and then he's strong. And these older guys, and then who's this guy that drives around living free MGTOW, this Norwegian-looking guy who's American. Another thing, strongman narrative. I'm sure his sons all have girlfriends, and this this really, nothing's making any sense with these guys. What exactly is their beef? Why aren't they telling their whole story? I'm not buying any of these strongman narratives coming from these older fucks like Vention and Traversable. I've even talked to Traversable. I've tried to get Traversable to meet with me. The guy lives 15 miles from me. God bless it. I mean, you know, how often does a MGTOW who's prominent? How often do two prominent MGTOW guys or men's rights guys live so close to one another? You know, and it's like these MGTOW guys don't even want to meet with other MGTOW guys. I mean, for crying out loud, let's meet at a Steak and Shake and have a burger, and we can Traversable. We can do this, but see, this isn't going to happen because this strongman narrative is never fucking going to stop with these guys. It's never going to stop. It will stop eventually when the lunacy happens, that you realize that putting on this act it's like going to a bar and saying, I'm only here to watch the game and hang out with the dudes, when in reality you're there to meet women and you're not getting any action, and eventually you become one of these silent dicks at the bar that I've talked about before. The same thing with the guys that join the hiking groups on meetup.com, only to find out that they really don't fucking like hiking like me. I fucking hate hiking. I'd rather be goddamn running, and I'd rather knock out 5 miles in 35 minutes or 40 minutes than knock it out in 2 hours. You know, and this kind of thing, you know, unless you're being honest with yourself, you're just going to eventually rob yourself of real true happiness. I would rather be upfront and say, I'm joining a hiking group for the main reason being I want to meet women here. I'm going to the bar because I want to meet women. I'm doing this because I want, and the same thing with MGTOW. I'm in this community because I'm not getting laid. Quit this bullshit about false rape allegations and divorce court and my wife took my kids. It's about fucking finding women. Even the guys that have been fucked over in the divorce courts and whose wives have left them, and I'm assuming that this other MGTOW guy, what's his name, this Living Free MGTOW, his wife dumped him. He's hoping to find a woman. He'd love to find a 40-something-year-old woman to come in his life, to treat him right, to rub his back, to caress his manlyhood, to caress his manly ego. You know, of course, what normal guy wouldn't want to have a good woman come in their life? And to sit there and deny this bullshit, I mean, I don't understand why men are so obsessed with this strong man, he-man, I don't need women narrative. If you don't need women, I'm going to repeat what I just said yesterday because I had to split this video up in 2 parts. But I'm actually putting it in one video, is that there has never been a time in human history where a man has been absolved from all responsibility to be a responsible man and be married and have a family. If you are average to ugly and you have an average to a no income, you are not only not expected to have a family, but you're told, please don't even try because we don't even want you. It's like being a stranger into moving to some small hick town, and they don't want you gaming their women. They don't want you to ever fuck with their women. They don't want you gaming their job market. They want you to stay the fuck away from their jobs. There's one thing I learned about living in a small town, and it's kind of like what guys are going through today in the mating scene, is that small towns don't want you to take their women, and they don't want you to fuck with their jobs. And those two things, if you're a stranger, if you leave well enough alone, you're fine. And that's exactly what the society is treating guys today. So for MGTOW guys to act like they have all these options and they're just they're getting off the plantation, they don't want to be a part of it, that would have made sense back in the 1920s, but it certainly doesn't jive now with social media that makes ugly to average looking women superstars in their own right. And I'm tired of this bullshit. I tell it like it is, and I call this out, and this is going to be the last video where I keep calling out these strong men, tough guy, he-man, oh, I don't need women, I'm so strong. And it's clearly evident that men want women. We all want women. And you know how this is going to manifest itself? When 20 years from now, and I believe I will see it in my 60s, because I'm already 46 now, what's going to start happening is we're going to see massive shortages in the white population in America, the Asian population, because Asian Americans are having smaller families, and Jewish people like don't even have hardly any kids, like 1.3 kids. I mean, I was surprised. Jews always talk about survival. We're a race of survivors, but they're only having like 1.4 fucking kids. You're going to see a massive amount of people with next to no kids, and then it's going to be a dawn on people that we can't start playing this game of playing the William Bennett bullshit of manning up and marry these women. They're going to have to admit that there's a problem. And I'm kind of reiterating some of the things that Kix Passion talked about, but it's absolutely in his 2-part video series called Taking Baby Steps, or called Baby Steps. We're going to, whether we like it or not, in MGTOW, we're going to have to acknowledge that the white elephant in the room is that we are being weeded out of the mating pool. And it's not about false rape allegations, which only happens to like super rich or celebrities. It doesn't happen to ugly dudes with cleft lips that are fucking ugly. Most women wouldn't give you the time of day to even accuse you of a friggin' of a false rape allegation if you're super ugly. I mean, I'm sure no woman is ever going to accuse Kix Passion of a false rape allegation. So these things are such bullshit, and I'm sick and tired of beating my head, and I know I'm kind of like, I'm not really upset about it, but I'm beating my head and trying to hammer it to people that eventually guys are gonna realize that yes, I do desire a woman. I do desire to have a very nice woman in my life to to maybe sit there and watch Netflix with or something, and even if we don't agree to get married, wouldn't being able to date women, even if the sex was limited, even if you didn't have to get laid right away. I mean, there's a lot of guys that don't even have very strong sex drives that just want to have something nice to come home to, or maybe, and I'm not trying to sound like a sissy here, but for crying out loud, this MGTOW narrative, this we don't need women, He-Man, pound my chest narrative, I mean, it's going to come to an end. And it's not going to come to an end because I said it's going to come to an end. It's going to come to an end because it's denying what's reality. You're just denying what you really want in your life. Why would you go out there and bitch continue? Listen to this guy, Angry MGTOW. All he complains about is women. Now I thought to myself, why doesn't he just go his own way? Why is everything about women with this guy? I mean, every day of the week, he's thinking about women, these bitchy women. If you really want to get away from women, there has never been a time in history where society not only does not expect you to get married and have a family, but it demands that you don't. They don't want, the average, society does not want average to ugly guys to even try to attempt to find women. It's almost like a pecking order where they're telling you, please do us a favor, stay out of the dating, mating scene. And I think most guys kind of know that. I mean, I've told you the stories about guys I know that they get a girlfriend in their life and they don't want you near them. They know that what potentially could happen is that woman could possibly find you attractive and leave that guy. And they know that. Guys are living in horrible scarcity today. And I'm not saying it's an easy time to be a man, but man, I'll tell you, these guys out there that are acting tough, and I talked about this before, these guys that have sons, and my 2 sons are teenagers and they both got girlfriends. If I was a MGTOW, I'd be telling my sons, look, dude, you know what? You're pissing me off. You need to take those girls and go somewhere else because I don't want you to be raped in the divorce court. These guys aren't even sincere. They don't make any sense. How can you be a male, a fatherly MGTOW and have sons that are dating? And, yeah, my son's bringing his girlfriend over here. And, by the way, I'm a MGTOW and I hate women. None of this makes any fucking sense. I wish fucking Traversable, I wish you'd fucking just come up forward and tell me what the fuck your deal is, dude. I mean, you live 15 fucking miles from me. And this other guy, this living free MGTOW guy, character, you know, I don't know what the fuck's up with this dude. He drives a beautiful pickup truck. He claims he's got some construction firm or some bullshit. He drives around in this fully loaded Triton truck or whatever, the big mag wheels, and he's a big badass. You know, an extension of his penis probably. That's what most of these assholes that drive these oversized extended cab trucks are, just sticking. It's just an extension of their little tiny penis. I mean, I don't know what's up with these guys with these big Triton trucks, but I think that there's something psychologically deficient with these people. They got these oversized mag tires on their big trucks, you know. But these guys are not being honest. They're not being honest as to really why they're here. They're you know, the MGTOW. Last thing I'll say before closing this video is that it's what I'm seeing is the same regurgitation of the same shit. 10 reasons why not to get married. Oh, yes, if they want your fucking ugly ass anyways. They're hoping you don't get married. They don't want your ugly ass. Ugly guys don't want your ass in the dating scene. Unless you're somebody super hot looking like a Tom Brady or a model like a Chris Carmack, they don't want your ugly ass to begin with. So, and the same thing with false rape allegations. What woman is going to accuse an ugly guy of false rape allegations? She's like, get the fuck out of here. Why would she do that? You know? You fucking guys, it's ridiculous. You know, I like to call these older MGTOWs out because I think they're even more disingenuous than the younger guys. At least the younger guys don't have any reference point. They have a reason. Maybe they're angry. These older guys, they're really not being honest about things. I mean, there's just something not right. You know, there's something not right when, like, a Traversable has 864 videos up and he's down to 53 now. I mean, how the fuck do you go from 864 videos to 53 videos? I like to call these people out on this shit, and I will call them out on it if they're man enough to put up with my arguments on this. I will call out this redhead, this blonde-haired warrior that drives around in his big-ass pickup truck, this living free MGTOW character. I will call this motherfucker out on it. I'm not here to challenge him to some wrestling or physical. Probably a guy would sit and break me like a pretzel. But I really think these people need to start coming up and being honest about why they're here, instead of just bullshit and putting on this strong man, I'm a handsome guy narrative. I'm sorry, guys, this hurts your fucking ego, but you need to hear it loud and clear. I'm calling you out on it. I admit, I am TFL at times. I've been lonely. We all do. We all want to find a woman in our lives. We've got to stop denying that. Are we willing to take the risk to do it? Probably not. I'm not willing to go to the lengths to do it. My biggest issue is it's a little bit of ego with me. My ego problem is that I am not willing to go to the nth degree. I had one guy try to get me hooked up on a sugar daddy website one time, and he was telling me that, oh, you need to try the sugar daddy. And then at first I wanted to try it, but then I thought to myself, that's just pandering. It's like it's not even natural. It's so, and I thought to myself, I'm going to be going on a sugar daddy website so I can support some woman with $400 a week. And I thought to myself, are you fucking out of your mind? And I decided, no. You know, I mean, no, I'm not doing it. Yeah, it sucks. MGTOW is the answer. I think the biggest thing with MGTOW, I've said this in the last 2 videos that I did, is that MGTOW gives you an education. It lets you know what you're up against. It lets you know that it's not your fault, not like some get-rich-quick scheme or some PUA seminar where you blame yourself. It's my fault I failed. No, it's not your fault. The system's fucked up. Okay? And that is the thing that MGTOW does arm you with. That red pill knowledge does arm you with. But it doesn't change your biology and the fact that you still desire a woman. Look at Red Pill Brotherhood. He's already now proclaiming that, dudes, like, you really got to stop being angry at women. This fucker's all over the map, man. This Red Pill Brotherhood guy, I am so fucking tired of the way this guy changes his message. He goes from being vitriolically angry, then he goes to being passive, then angry again, and he's jumping all over the map. This guy don't know what the hell he wants. I know one thing, he's a virgin. He's a 20-year-old virgin, and I called this guy out on it. There's no way that this guy could be getting laid and be bitching about women all the time. And this guy, I mean, and I don't hate this guy. I mean, he tried to challenge me. He got real porky with me one time on a video, but that was all water under the bridge now. But he was angry at me because I had said some things on my own comments, and the thing is that now he's saying in his videos that you really gotta not be angry, and you never know, and it's I don't know where the fuck this guy stands. I mean, he goes to the gym and then he hates women. Then he's thinking, well, maybe women aren't so bad, and I'll give him credit. He's 20 years old. Give the guy a break, and I think I will at this point. But these older guys, these guys have no excuse to be ignorant and no excuse to bullshit. And I've had enough of this crap. I have really had my fill of this bullshit. There is nobody else calling out the MGTOW crowd like I am. And maybe Kick's Passion, but he hasn't done shit lately. So I'm kind of keeping him on the fence. I don't know where the fuck this guy is.